Hello, my family. What's good? Hope you guys are good. We're traveling at warp speed. We're traveling at light speed, you know? Light years ahead of the everything. So sometimes it feels like a day even feels like such a long time. You know, it's natural. It's only because you're shifting awareness and you're starting to see reality for what it is, because the idea of it, of the day and all the rest of it, are just that, ideas. Okay, so today we're gonna do a bit of heavy lifting, all right? So yeah, man, get comfortable and let's get involved, all right? So we've traveled a fair bit, yeah. We've traveled a fair bit, you know, and we've smashed through the glass of the matrix. We've gone through the Saturnian matrix. We've realized that we're not even on Earth. Earth is a program, an idea, a mode of thinking, and we've come into some higher levels of understanding. Right, I think I found a better bench actually. So we've come to those levels of realization, and now my job is to sort of like inform you about, actually I might take that one. My job is to inform you about the nature of the game. Yeah, the nature of the game that you find yourself in. And it's a very complicated game, but it's a fun game because the aim of the game is just to find yourself. Yeah, think of it as a very complex hide and seek. Yeah, you're playing with yourself because you are all there is. You are the infinite power. You are the big fucking I am. Okay. So first things first. Oh yeah, and I wanted to salute all the Jedi. These dentures, bro. Wanted to salute all the Jedis in the building. You know, hope you guys are good, keeping the torches lit and dropping the breadcrumbs. You feel me? So keep going, man. Keep going. Keep going. Awareness is a journey. Yeah, it's not a destination. All right. Was it Albert Camus that said that you have to imagine Sisyphus smiling whilst he's undertaking his work, you know? So it should be the same for us, yeah? Oh, matrix, shit. I'm in a very quiet park. Now suddenly there's all these loud engines. Now, we're gonna get stuck in. First things first. Hermetic rule number 1. What is it? As above, so below. Yes? So whatever we see on the outside is a reflection of what's inside. Yeah? We understand this, we accept this, and we know this. Yeah? There's no other possible explanation. Yeah? We know this because we've done the work and we get it. Yeah? We realize that we are not mere pawns or actors within a construct where we don't have control. We are the stage, we are the projector, we are the screen, we are all of it at the same time, but in fractalized form. So we experience this place through separation, because there is no way that the big I am can squeeze itself into this place as itself. This place is too small, too small. It's the same as you going into Super Mario World. It can't be done. Yeah? Okay. So, if as above, so below, let's look at the light of the world, the literal light of the world, that is the sun. And all through our history, all through our time, we have known that that is the fundamental truth. All light in the world, you know, basically what lights up the whole world is the sun. Yeah, okay. And when we look at it in terms of consciousness, the sun represents consciousness itself. Yeah. All the other luminaries are aspects of consciousness, but they don't actually represent consciousness itself. The sun does. Yeah. The sun is the star player. Yeah. Pun intended. Is the star player. Right. Now, what do we observe about the sun? What do we know about the sun? At this point, let me just make a quick announcement. If you believe in the NASA story and the Neil deGrasse Tyson, Michio Kaku, Brian Cox, Bill Nye bullshit, please do me a favor and sign off. Yeah, just go and do your fucking spaceship, because you haven't woken up yet. You still live in a fairy tale. Okay, here we do some real stuff. All right, so bye, have a good day. Now, what do we observe about the sun? We know that the sun rises in the east, what we call the east. We don't know what the east doesn't actually mean anything. We just know that it rises always in one location, like not one location, but in one general direction, yeah, that we've named the east. And it's relative to what we know as the north, which is signified by our anchor into this place called Polaris, the North Star, yeah? So it's an arbitrary thing. It doesn't actually mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but that's what we call it. So we know that the sun rises there. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. I've been all over the place. The sun always rises in the east, okay, and sets in the west every day. Doesn't matter where you are, okay? Doesn't matter where you go, bro. Go to Japan, it still rises in the east, bro. So we know that much. Cool. We also know that it sets in the west, and we also know that the sun travels across a very specific band across the sky, right? That specific band, the sun will never exceed in any direction, yeah? The sun will never ever exceed the ecliptic. Yeah, the band is called the ecliptic, and the sun will never cross it. It's always within it. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low, but it's always within this band. Yeah. Now, within this band, we find, actually, it can be argued 14, but let's actually keep it simple. Across this band called the ecliptic, we find 13 constellations. Yeah. 13 of the 88 constellations. Another 88 true to drop here. Of all the constellations ever in existence, there's only 88, yeah, according to like Western astrology. But it's pretty much 88, yeah. Even if you use different systems, you're very close to 88. Now, of the 88, we have 13 within this band. So based on our own like experience and our own perception of reality, it appears that the sun rises in the general direction of what we call the east, travels across a band, and across this band we have 13 houses, if you like. Constellations are known as houses, yeah? So the sun travels across these bands and does what it's supposed to do. Bear with me, what do they want? Yeah, so it travels across these 13 bands, these 13 houses across this band. And as the sun travels, the sun goes through, it's almost like the sun is undergoing a journey every single year. The year is also a meaningless word. The year doesn't actually mean anything. The year is basically a word we use to describe the sun traveling from one location and returning back to that location, yeah? Which creates a shape in the sky, actually, which is a figure of 8, yeah, the infinity, yeah, 8. The moon also does the same thing, so we have the same 88 thing here, you know, when it comes to the heavens, which is the infinity symbol. So the sun, as it's traveling, will travel from point A to A. We call it a year, but as it's going through this ecliptic band, yeah, across the sky, it almost kind of undergoes a journey where it is born, it rises to its peak, and then it declines, and then it almost appears to die. And then the same thing repeats. That's the journey of the sun. Let's go back to the Hermetic rule number 1, as within, so without. So that means that you, as a fractalized version of God, i.e. a fractalized version of the sun itself, because you have an inner light, you also undergo the very same journey. Whether you believe it or not, I don't actually care. I'm just here to tell you the facts, okay? You also undergo the very same journey in your own way. That is the board game, yeah? The board doesn't change, yeah? The constellations will never ever change. They shift ever so slightly every sort of like 20, I think it's 25 or 26,000 years, right? Because we used to be, and then that 26,000 year cycle is basically the age. So of the 13 houses, every 26,000 years, one of them, the sun actually starts a new cycle within it whilst the houses are changing, and that is called the age that we're in. We used to be in the age of Pisces. Now we've entered the age of Aquarius. Yeah, Pisces was signified with the fish, and that's why you used to see the Jesus symbolism with the fish everywhere. Yeah, that's what it is. The Piscean age is finished. We've entered the age of Aquarius. Okay, and each age comes with its own kind of, how do I say it, its own kind of story. Yeah, let's just call it that for now. But as the sun is going through these houses, and it's almost like it's rising and it's falling, it almost appears that the houses have an effect on the sun from our perspective. Yeah, the sun, it appears that when the sun reaches Leo, it's really powerful. When the sun reaches Scorpio, it's at its weakest point. It appears that way to us, but in truth, nothing actually happens to the sun. Nothing at all. Because the sun is a representation of all that is. Yeah, the sun represents consciousness. Go and read any history book you like, any book on metaphysics you like, forever. What I'm telling you is a golden fact. Now, the sun itself doesn't actually experience anything. Yeah, the sun going traveling through the houses. There's no effect on the sun itself. It appears that way to us because of where we are standing. Yeah, where are we standing? We are standing in the realm of physicality. Yeah, we're standing in the shadow of the sun, or the shadow of the light, because without physicality there is no shadow. So the very fact that we exist is what makes this realm possible. Let me say that one more time for anyone that missed it. The very fact that we exist is what makes this realm possible, because without us, the physical being, there is no shadow. All there is light, and with that light there is no aperture for the light to go through. So it's just brilliant light, just whiteness or blackness if you like. There will be no spectrum of color. I hope that's clear. Yeah, I did a visual on this a while back, and I showed you how we're part sort of like magnetic and part mechanical. So it's almost like electromagnetic and mechanical. So it's almost like it's like light and sound. I'll try and dig up the visual. I know it's somewhere in my stuff. I'll see if I can find it and attach it. But without physicality, there is no shadow. Yeah, all there is light. The minute something physical pops up, there is a shadow. Then the realm of physicality appears. It's the same with sound. There's always sound. Yeah, the only time we experience silence is when a physical being is around. So when you experience silence, you think there is no sound because you are physical. You have a configuration, you have limitations. So you can think that, oh, there is no sound, but there are sounds around you all the time of all different frequencies. Yeah. And it's the same with life. Life is just life. Life does not die. Life can only experience death or decay when there is a physical aspect. Yeah, because life is just life. Okay, life can, these three elements can only experience their shadow aspects. Yeah, when there is a physical being involved. Cool, we're getting there. This one's a bit heavy, so I'm just going to try and take it slowly. So what we discussed so far, we've discussed the Hermetic principle, the sun's journey, and the fact that nothing's actually happening to the sun, and we also experience the same journey. Okay, cool. So if we're also experiencing the same journey, it looks like the sun is actually going through all these houses, but really it's not. Yeah, the sun is just the ecliptic is in between us and the big I am, yeah, or call it the real eye of consciousness. Yeah, the real eye of consciousness from our perspective appears to be going through the houses, but really it's us that's going through the houses. we are in lockstep with the sun, because we are a fractalized version of consciousness itself. We are a fractalized version of the light of the world itself. Because why? We have an inner light, we are consciousness fractalized. So when you actually think about it, the next logical question is like, okay, then what do you mean? Like, what's the ecliptic and the zodiac houses and the luminaries? Yeah, they have an effect on the physical, but they don't affect the kind of like non-physical, yeah, i.e. the light of consciousness itself. So where do their influences come from? Why that path? You know, why does it appear that, you know, the sun dies when it goes into Scorpio and is reborn when, you know, it hits Ophiuchus and Sagittarius? Or why does it appear that the sun reaches its most powerful when it's in Leo? And, you know, and when it's in these houses, they all come with a story. Yeah, and these stories have a physical manifestation and a physical effect on us here. Just like how retrogrades have an effect on people, just like how conjunctions have an effect on people, just like the moon has an effect on people, just like how Bohemian stars have an effect on people, yeah? But they don't affect the sun, because the sun is timeless, ephemeral, it's just there, it's just doing its thing. But we are in lockstep with it. So essentially we are looking at a reflection of ourselves going through the houses, and we think that it's the sun that's going through the houses, but it's us that's actually going through that journey. Is that clear? Now, when you think about it, the ecliptic, the zodiac houses, and the luminaries influence the physical because they act as the framework or the circuitry, yeah, if you like, through which energy flows into manifestation. What does that mean? That means that the ecliptic band is almost like a roll of film, yeah? And consciousness is looking through that roll of film and projecting this reality to us. Yeah? Is that clear? 1 second, let me read this message. 1 second. Why is this funny? Oh God. Hey, get yourself a sister, man. Sisters are funny. Oh gosh. Right, hold on 1 second. One second, guys. I'll head back now. Apologies, people. Okay, right. So what does that mean? That means that the ecliptic acts almost as if it's like a roll of film, which the light of consciousness goes through and projects, and its energy flows through that to manifest here. So the physical effects that we experience here, it's just the light of consciousness going through a roll of film, if you like, and projecting it here. But the funny thing is, the ecliptic itself is us. Now we're getting into the conversation. The ecliptic band is actually us, because the ecliptic band makes the realm of physicality possible. We are intrinsically linked to it. That's why we are connected to it. Yeah, that's why if you're born under a sign, you are subject to the sign. Yeah, you have traits of the sign. Tell me I'm lying, bro. Go and pick 100 Scorpios, and out of the 100 Scorpios, they will have 100 Scorpio type fucking characteristics. How do I know? Because I'm one of them. You understand what I'm saying? So as much as mainstream media, mainstream fucking dog shit, because the mainstream is crap, it's just a cesspool of fucking vomit and poop, will convince you that these things don't mean anything. I'm here to tell you that it means more than you actually think and you actually know. Okay, so what did we just establish? Hermetic rule number 1: the sun rises, and we look the sun's characteristics rises, goes through the bands, goes through the houses, and also the houses have a physical effect on the physical realm, i.e. us. And the question is, why does it do so? Because the ecliptic band itself acts as a circuit, yeah, or a film roll, or a screen for which the light of consciousness shines through, yeah. And as it's shining through, yeah, it has a physical effect on us. That's why it appears that it goes through that loop, yeah. Birth, rising, decay, death, birth, rise, you know, that's the loop that it has to go through. That's the film roll. So that is the story of consciousness and physicality. Are you following so far? Good, because we're going to get to the board game itself in a minute, but just bear with me. I have to lay down the foundation brilliantly before we move any forward. Okay. So the influences of the sort of like the zodiac houses, if you like, come from the way consciousness itself, yeah, the sun, which is the sun is basically like because we can't see the big thing, we can't see the whole thing, we can only see a tiny smidgen of it because we're in fractalized form. So we can, how we see the sun, yeah, which is a representation of the real eye of consciousness, projects into form, yeah, using archetypal pathways to experience itself. So the film roll, if you like, that the light is shining through, has archetypes, yeah, because it wants to experience different aspects, yeah, different characters, different masks, yeah, different players, yeah, different combinations, different permutations of itself, yeah. And the only way it can do that is to use the zodiac. Cool. So the path itself is determined by the interplay of order and experience. What does that mean? That means that the sun moves through these houses not because it's bound, but because its reflection, i.e. you, moves through the layers of programmed experience. Did you hear what I said? Yeah? So the path is determined by the interplay of order and experience, and the sun, the real eye of consciousness, moves through these houses not because it's bound, because it's boundless, but because its reflection, i.e. us, the fractalized self, the incarnated self, moves through the layers of programmed experience. What is a programmed experience? A programmed experience is a game. Okay, cool. Or a simulation, if you like. I told you this when? Okay, let's carry on. This journey then provides contrast, challenge, and the eventual realization that the sun was never truly affected. Only its shadow or projection was. Just like I told you. So in essence, the path is the route back to remembering the self through the illusion of separation, played out in cycles of initiation, growth, and integration. Let me let that breathe for 1 second. So what have we established? That the journey of the sun through the houses is not actually the sun's journey, but it's our journey. Because if everything within is everything within is without, then the sun is actually, as much as it appears to be beaming to us, it's not being beamed to us, it's being beamed from us to it simultaneously, because we are a fractalized version of the real eye of consciousness, which the sun is its representation here in the physical realm. Yeah, the sun represents that wholeness, the real eye of consciousness. That's why the Masons will use the sun, and the fucking ancient Egyptians, everybody worships the sun, because everybody knows that the sun is actually the representation of all that is, the real eye of consciousness. Go and argue with your mom, bro. These are facts. Now, we're getting into it. Okay, so that's some heavy stuff. So the ecliptic band and the houses are just the archetypes through which consciousness is experiencing itself in the physical realm. So what appears to be its journey is actually our journey. Oh, okay. Let's talk about the archetypes then. Now, first things first. Your configuration, yeah, is based on an archetype. argue with, say whatever you want, I don't care. This is just it's just facts, okay? It's just facts. Yeah, you are an archetype of some sort. Yeah, and what dictated you being an archetype of some sort? Because your actual birth, when you actually appeared here in the physical, it looks like you came out of a woman, but metaphysically speaking, you appeared when the sun was actually reflecting its light into the physical realm, yeah, through one of these archetype houses, yeah, or these archetypes in the ecliptic, in one of them. That's what you call your star sign, yeah? So when you were born that day, the sun was actually in the house of Scorpio. So Scorpio has an influence on you. Not that Scorpio has an influence on you. You are born, yeah, your light, yeah, the fractalized light that you are, the big light was shining through Scorpio. So Scorpio's essence, the archetype of Scorpio, shaped your configuration. Fact, bro. Fact. And if you're in between two houses, it's two houses that will shape you. If you're in between deacons, they shaped you, so on and so forth. Fact. Now, we're going to talk about your avatar, yeah? So that's your archetype, yeah? That's your kind of like your archetype, how you play the game, yeah? This is like the unseen aspect of you. But what about your seen aspect, your physical aspect? Your physical aspect is just based on numbers and vibration, really. So your physical aspect is, what is it? It's the avatar that the real eye of consciousness has chosen to play on the board game called life as. And it chose you. You are not a random character. It might appear, you might think that, oh yeah, my dad, my mom, my family, story, but that story, yeah, is what is your configuration. Your story is literally the story of your character. It's the very genesis of your config, yeah, and it's all based on numbers. But I'll talk about the numbers thing maybe later. But let me just get to the nuts and bolts of it. So you're walking with me now, yeah? So basically, just like how it's, so the light of consciousness, real eye of consciousness is looking through this film roll. It's like, okay, I'm going to go through and play as a Scorpio character or a Piscean character or a Taurian character or a fucking Aquarian character, whatever. The light shines through. You are born. Yeah, but the character also, the physical aspect, yeah, is also shaped by a specific story, just like how your presence is shaped through an archetype, yeah, through one of the houses. So that story may be, your parents are this, your socioeconomic status, your this, your that, you know, your fucking education, your disabilities, your abilities, your fucking this. It may appear to you as all random, but let me just tell you that nothing here is random, bro. Coincidences don't exist. They're just God winking at you, bro. So that whole structure of your being was chosen by God specifically, was chosen by consciousness specifically, just like how your archetype was chosen specifically. Why was it chosen specifically? Because that specific configuration has never happened before, and God wanted to play the game as that character, which you fondly refer to as you, yourself. Now, the randomized variables, yeah, the randomized variables of the archetype and the story of the config, your socioeconomic status, your parents, the education, their fucking genes, their fucking background, race, ethnicity, culture, height, all that stuff. It's just a story within your config, yeah? Whether it's real or not, it doesn't really matter, because it's just how the character was put together. In the 3D, it has to make sense. Otherwise, it will blow our minds, okay? So that's how it runs. Now, that randomized, as the randomized thing allows for the game to start on an even play on a level playing field. Yeah, on a level playing field. Otherwise it becomes a bit unfair, because think of it, you're talking about the real eye of consciousness, the all-seeing eye of everything, the real power behind all that is. In fact, it is all that is. Yeah, now all that is playing a game, if it doesn't randomize the, one second, let me zip my coat, it's very chilly. If it doesn't randomize the components, the game will not be fair. Yeah, it has to randomize it. It's a bit like shuffling cards. Yeah, or chess. You know, we start, but we just, you know, go back to the beginning and start from, let's all start from this point. Yeah, nobody has an advantage. Yeah, and when I say nobody, it's like you're playing chess with yourself. So it's basically trying to randomize it to make it as fair as possible, just to see what the outcome is. And what's the outcome of the game? Essentially go through the cycle and realize what you are. Yeah, realize that you are the I am itself in physical form. That's the game. Now, what's the first point of every game? What is the first thing that has to happen for any game to begin? In order for any game to begin, there has to be an acceptance. Yeah, we're going to play this game. Yeah, so regardless of the archetype, regardless of the configuration, the aim is we're going to play this. The agreement is we're going to play this game. So we accept certain things. Yeah, certain rules, certain regulations, cause and effect. Cause, effect, what's the other one? Time, matter. Oh man, London is so loud as a place, you know. I don't actually like coming here. I can't wait to go back. Sirens and all types of fucking noise, man. I don't know how people even think living here. But what they're saying, I was talking about the rules, right? So there are rules of the game. And the rules, you know, they include like what you call it, time, matter, causation. There's also like a teleological aspect, actually, what you can do, what you can't do, the boundaries of physicality, you know, and all the rest of it. So the human being, the player, is the random configuration. It's like you yourself are the roll of the dice. Yeah, because it picks the archetype and it picks the configuration. All of it is random. Yeah, because to us it appears like, oh, it takes 9 months for you to be born, but if you actually think about how you came to be, your whole existence is actually very, very random. Yeah, because had your dad not taken that fucking train that day, or that gone to that bar, or done this or done that, he wouldn't have met your mom. So in fact, the randomization existed even before you were actually in your mother's stomach. Do you understand? And your the very presence, your parents' actual existence is also random, and how they actually came to be is actually random, and how their grandparents actually be is random. So you are actually a collection of random energies put together. You can't argue with me, bro, so chill out. Yeah, so the first rule is you have to accept that you're going to play the game. Yeah, so there are rules and structure, like I said. So every game has foundational laws, cause and effect, time, space, karma, because these provide the framework within which the choices and actions will take place. Yeah, then there's also free will and choice. Yeah, your ability to create within the game, because you are God in physical form. The fuck. So players make decisions that shape their experience, right? So even in a system with predetermined variables, choice always influences the outcome. Yeah, cool. Then there's obviously, in every game, there's challenges and resistance, because otherwise it's not really a game. Yeah, so obstacles are necessary for growth, because if you don't fall, you will not learn to stand up. Yeah, if you don't actually trip, you won't actually You know, if you don't burn your hand, you won't learn how to, you know, it's just no. So they're necessary for growth, yeah? They create contrast and they give meaning to success, mastery, and evolution. These are all important, so take note, yeah? Then there's perception and awareness, you know? So your level of awareness, how much of the game you see affects how you play the game, yeah? So some people move through the game as NPCs, whilst others realize that they are actually creating the game as the game goes along, yeah? Pick your camp. Me, I know where I am. Then there's consequences and feedback loops, okay? So every action generates a ripple effect, whether it's immediate or delayed, yeah? And the outcomes are tied to choices. Then there's also the illusion of luck, yeah? Because luck is usually seen as like some unseen pattern of cause and effect. But from a higher perspective, it's not random at all, yeah? Because although, you know, you think that, you may think that, oh, you got really lucky, you don't know why, you know, but there was a cause and you were experiencing the effect, yeah? And the purpose of the game, yeah, beyond winning or losing, is about experience, expansion, and evolution, yeah? So, because some people play for power, some people play for love, and some people play to awaken. This is like the fundamentals of every game ever in existence, yeah? Okay. So we've established what so far? As above, so below. We're looking at the sun, which represents consciousness. We're looking at how it interacts with the houses. We've realized that it's not the sun interacting with the houses, but it's us interacting with the houses, because we are a fractalized version of consciousness. You know, we are reflection. We are in lockstep with the sun. We are almost a fractalized version of it, yeah? And being a fractalized version of it, we are experiencing one second, guys, hold on. Yeah, being a fractalized version of it, because the houses don't actually have any real effect on the sun itself. It is only the physical aspect of consciousness that experiences the effect of consciousness traveling through the houses, i.e. us going through life, going through the board game of life, going through the zodiac wheel, yeah, the ecliptic band of the board game called life. It's us that experience it, not consciousness. Why? Because we have to actually go through these specific cycles in order for us to come to the realization of what we are, yeah? So that's what the game is. And there are rules of the game, and I've explained how we begin every game with acceptance, feedback loops, consequences, all the rest of it. So you have an idea of what's what now. So now the game begins. Consciousness has chosen to fractalize itself into a let's say, for argument's sake, 1 million people, 1 million different aspects, all randomized, all different archetypes, all different physical configurations, yeah? Each and every single avatar is the actual dice and the avatar at the same time. Because your life, your configuration, your archetype, yeah, is what actually determines how your interaction with the board game will go. Nothing else. Nothing else. Because let's say you are in a house that rewards intelligence, yeah? But your configuration and your archetype means that you're an intelligent person. Happy days. It's randomized, but it benefits you, right? So that's like you getting a 6 when you roll the dice. But as we travel through the houses, we'll get to a point where we might get to a house where maybe another aspect is rewarded, or maybe intelligence or communication is then kind of like dampened or hampered, yeah? When that happens, you will be disadvantaged. Not disadvantaged in the grand scheme, but it's almost like that's when you also kind of reach a point that becomes an obstacle for you. You experience resistance, right? But for another configuration and another archetype, that's when they start flying. Do you see? So our physical avatars and our physical beings are actually the dice roll and our avatars simultaneously. Do you see why people pleasing is such a stupid fucking thing? Do you see why living for others is such a stupid thing? Do you see why copying another person is such a stupid thing? Do you see why emulation of another person's fucking path is such a stupid thing? Because you can't. No matter what you do, you can't. Because even when you do it in a physical sense and you get it right, your config and your avatar is saying something totally different. You will be able to replicate everything they do 100%, one for one, but you will never be able to have the impact they have, and it will baffle you, like, how come? And you start to blame God and blame other things. You're not being authentic. You're not actually rolling the dice of yourself the way you're supposed to roll it. So it's like you're rolling sixes and expecting fucking ones or fours or threes. Be authentic and your sixes will make sense to your life. Do you understand? But the beauty of it is, whether it's a 6 or a 1, it's all the same. Yeah, it's all randomized, so nobody is ahead of the other person, because one person could be born with a silver spoon in their mouth, fucking golden spoon in their mouth, yeah, but maybe intellectually they're dumb as fucking a bag of rocks, bro. Do you understand? And there might be another person who might be a fucking certified genius, but he might not have the resources to be able to do something. Yeah, who's actually more who is at a higher advantage than the other? It's hard to say, because the person with the brain can actually maneuver and make some big changes and change his life, right? Whereas the person that hasn't got the brain, he might have all the resources, but he might spunk it all. So it's a very fair system, this game called life. Now let's actually talk about how, bro, some dudes, yeah. Okay, anyway, so now that we understand the nature of the game, we understand the board, we understand the characters, you're starting to see what it is, right? Okay, so we know all those things now. Now the question now becomes, how do you play the game efficiently? You know, should you just let the game just happen to you and just go with the game? Really and truly, if you're being truly authentic and you're living from a position of higher awareness, you don't have to do anything. The game will just it will just click all around you. It'll literally just make sense all around you, 8 days a week. You know, no, it'll just be fucking sweet. You know, there'll be nothing stressy about your life. You'll literally be chill, bro. But in the world of physicality and the world of ego, it's hard to maintain that composure. So that's one aspect. You need to make sure that you are authentic, maintain high vibrations. The second thing is you need to advise yourself. You need to actually look. As the sun is traveling, it gets to a position where it gains a lot of energy, yeah, when it's in a specific house, specific archetype. And because the sun is actually going through that cycle, you are going through that cycle. There will be points where you gain a lot of power, a lot of energy, yeah? And there will be times where you also lose a lot of power and a lot of energy, because it's part and parcel of the game, yeah? If you play Monopoly long enough, you're going to be super, super rich. And you play long enough, you're going to be super, super broke. Play long enough, you'll experience both sides of the spectrum. That's the aim of the game. That's the nature of the game. Yeah? Okay. So, in that understanding, it's like, okay, how do I play the game then? Number one, you have to accept all that happens. The sun doesn't actually cry when it gets to Scorpio. It just accepts it. It doesn't cry when it has to die for 3 days. During the solstice. So acceptance is very, very important, yeah? When you get to a boundary of a house and you have to pay some tax, i.e. shed energy, yeah? Pay it. In the full awareness that whatever is lost will be replenished and replaced. Just like Monopoly, you don't have to sweat it, bro. But make strategic decisions. When you have power, you ensure, because you have choice and free will, you ensure when you have power or you have energy, make decisions that will ensure that you have energy reserves to draw on when you lose energy. Okay? If the sun expelled all its light during the dog days of summer, it wouldn't have anything left when it hits the solstice. Do you understand? So acceptance, and make wise choices, make wise strategic decisions, yeah? With how you use your energy. Okay? This is very, very important. Right, I'm by the street now. Let me get to another point and I'll finish this, alright? So this is the first part. So hopefully you understand the board game. We'll talk some more. Peace.